What's up, hikers? Mikey Bell here with Outdoor Adventure Training, and today I'm going to be sharing with you some of my favorite exercises for hikers and backpackers to build strength for the trails. Some people think that you don't need to train for hiking and backpacking and that you can just show up to the trailhead and go for it. And while that might be true for some, I can tell you firsthand as a professional mountain guide and backpacking guide, an avid hiker and backpacker myself, that that is not the case for most. And investing just a little bit of time in preparing your mind and body can make a huge difference in not only your confidence levels as you approach bigger hikes and objectives, but so you can enjoy yourself while you're out there and reduce the risk of injury. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you some in-depth guidance on how to perform some excellent exercises to help you train for hiking and backpacking, but it really is just scraping the surface of what's possible. And if you're seeking more structure and accountability to help you prepare for your big hiking goals this year, you're gonna wanna check out our Backpackers Bootcamp. This is a science-based, periodized program with full-length, follow-along workouts and hundreds of exercise tutorial videos that are gonna help you enhance your performance on the trail so you can get the most out of every adventure. We do offer a 7-day free trial on all of our training programs. And if you have any additional questions, don't hesitate to book a discovery call with me. I would love to chat with you one-on-one about how we can support you in achieving your goals. Now for the exercises we'll be demoing today, I would recommend that you have a few pieces of basic equipment to get started. First, some sort of a step or a box somewhere between 12 and 18 inches. Additionally, a secondary step or ledge that's somewhere between 6 and 8 inches off the ground. This could be a couple weights stacked on top of each other, or even a stair or a curb that's accessible to you. Lastly, I always encourage having some form of external resistance. That could come in a pair of dumbbells, kettlebells, or even just a loaded backpack, simulating what you might experience on the trail. And without further ado, let's dive into these exercises. Now, even though this is not a follow-along workout, we are going to be following along with the Outdoor Adventure Training app. We have a combination of some lower body focused exercises, some core, and one upper body movement. We're going to start off with step ups. This is a classic exercise that every hiker should be doing. I'm going to start with my right leg on top of the box. We're starting with this anterior view head on. I'm keeping my whole foot grounded, and without pushing too much off that back leg, I'm going to really focus on driving through the heel, coming all the way up and really resisting on the way down. That eccentric phase coming down is super important, and we want to keep it slow, especially early on, building that stability. So again, I'm pushing through the whole foot and I'm working on keeping my knee externally rotated. And especially on the way down, we don't want this knee to collapse. That's called valgus movement of the knee. And that can put us at risk for injury, and we're not gonna get that same glute engagement as we drive through the whole foot. We're also working on balance here and coming down slow. If you're really struggling with that knee caving in, that's a good indication that we need to really focus on strengthening the posterior chain. Notice I'm working continuous reps on one leg to start building that muscular endurance. A few more here, keeping the chest up, trying not to rock. This is a great opportunity too, as you progress with this exercise, to hold on to some dumbbells, maybe holding on to a plate, or even wearing a backpack. Now I'm gonna go ahead and switch to the other leg. I wanna show you from the lateral view. I'm not hinging forward, and I'm really trying to ground through this front heel, push straight up, and again, resisting on the way down. Now, while hiking is largely a linear sport, meaning we're moving front to back, we also need to prepare for dynamic movement on the trail, whether that's stepping over a log or making a rotational turn. And we can practice that. So we can try a lateral step up. So standing sideways to the box, lifting up, placing my foot on top of the box, really trying not to let this knee cave in, keeping it out, stepping up, and again, slow on that eccentric phase. And you can absolutely lift that leg off the box every rep. That's gonna really help strengthen the hips, hip flexors to be precise, which we'll be doing a lot of. So again, moving Now on the frontal plane, and this is something I see a lot of hikers struggle with, they're strong front to back, but anytime you add any other range of motion, they fall apart. So we can get even more dynamic with it with a multi-planar step up. So I'm starting sideways to the box now. I'm lifting one leg and then externally rotating the hip. And I'm turning everything sideways, 90-degree angle, and then again, reversing that action. You could probably name a time on the trail when you've had to make this movement. Really important to start building that rotational strength and feeling comfortable that you can maintain that external rotation with your knee regardless of where you put your foot in a more dynamic nature. So just showing you some ways to diversify from just standard regular step ups. Awesome, we're done with our box for now. Of course, core strength is very important for the trail, whether it's because you're carrying a heavy backpack or just to improve our overall stability and balance on uneven terrain. So this next exercise, we're gonna be on the floor and we're gonna show you a bunch of variations to not only strengthen the core, but also the hip flexors, which most people really struggle with. So the V-sit position is a foundational position that is amazing to strengthen our core, lower back, and hips. So just practicing here, this V-sit knee in, full extension through the knees, heels are staying just above the floor, drawing those knees in towards the chest. Notice my upper body isn't moving. I'm trying to get all that motion through the hips and knees. This is really gonna challenge your hip flexors, and we need strong hips. If this is really tough and you're feeling some impingement and lack of range of motion there, that's indicative that you might need some more mobility training, which we have embedded in all of our training programs, and we have additional resources, and I'll leave links to those in the description below. If V-sit knee-ins are feeling good, we can further diversify as if we're hiking with a bicycle. This one I see a lot of people struggle with. I'm trying to alternate extension and flexion, opposite leg. This is really gonna challenge your hip flexors and your ability to maintain stability through your core as we have this dynamic motion, which replicates hiking. And of course, we can reverse it. Heel over toe, big extension, really working those hip flexors. There's a ton more variations, but we'll save that for more videos down the road. Next step, grab your smaller step, curb, or stair. We're gonna be working on the reverse step up. I love this exercise. A lot of people train for the uphill, but going downhill actually puts way more pressure on your knees, and we need to train that way. And this exercise is all about that. So I'm on the edge of my box, step, weights, whatever you're using, and this is not a hip exercise. I'm really targeting my quads. So my goal is to drive my knee forward, keeping that whole foot grounded, and then extending that leg. So walking downhill, and you could probably relate to this if you're a hiker, requires a lot of quad stability and endurance. And this exercise aims to do just that and start building that. Pay attention to your hips. Don't let them pop out to the side. Again, I'm looking for that knee alignment over the toe. If your knee is really collapsing inward, once again, you might have some muscle imbalances that need to be worked out with some strength and mobility training. If this is really difficult for you, having some sort of a foam wedge, or even just lifting your heel with a book or something small, about 1 inch, will make a big difference in your range of motion and accessibility into this exercise. The key here, again, is driving that knee over the toe. Just like when we're walking downhill, that's exactly what we do. We need to drive that knee over the toe. Notice my hips aren't sticking back, right? While strengthening the glutes is essential and really a cornerstone in all of our training programs, big on posterior chain engagement, that's where all of our power comes from. This exercise is a little different. We're really focusing on the anterior chain, specifically the VMO, vastus medialis oblique. This muscle right here is super important for building that strength for the descent. So chest is up, driving the knee forward, and then extension. And if you're really struggling with this, maybe you're unstable, maybe you're struggling with range of motion, that's okay. You can even do this on the floor and just really work on driving that knee forward. Oftentimes the limiting variable here is calf mobility, your flexibility through the gastrocnemius soleus, which again, some very simple tips here. Foam roll your calves, stretch out your legs a little bit more, can make a huge difference, especially after big hikes. We'll get a few more reps here, really working on this technique, driving that knee forward. There's a whole bunch of fun stuff we can do with bands. I have a 33-minute bulletproof knees for runners workout that implements some of this, and even though running is different than hiking, it's a lot of the same biomechanics. I'll leave a link to that one as well. Again, driving this knee forward as if you're walking downhill. You can walk uphill on a treadmill all day or on a trail, but the second you start to go down, this is where the strength really, really comes in handy. Great job. Next up, we're gonna be focusing on plyometrics. And this is really, really key for balance and agility on the trail. Even if you don't plan on jumping your way up or down the trail, building that strength and stability through your feet and ankles, lower leg is super, super key. Don't shy away from jumping. Even just, we'll get to the single leg hop in a second, a two-legged hop is a great place to start. So 2 feet, I'm just trying to come off the ground and absorb my landing softly. So hopping up, soft landing. Notice I'm using all of the joints of the lower body, ankle, knee, and hip to absorb that landing, trying to be as soft and quiet as possible on the landing. If you're new to plyometrics, this is an amazing place to start with a two-legged stability hop. Next, we can graduate, if you're ready, to a single leg stability hop. So one leg, hopping up. Again, soft, stable landings. I'm gonna stabilize here, feel that glute engagement. And again, paying attention to what your knee is doing. Don't let it drop inward. And this is where I see a lot of people do this, and that's what you're gonna do on the descent, and your knees are gonna be screaming. We do have a knee strength workout for hikers. Definitely check that out to build strength in the posterior chain to help stabilize the knee. Soft landings is super, super key. Notice I'm not jumping very high. I'm really emphasizing that soft and stable landing. Of course, we're working on balance, proprioception. So many plyometric variations, and I'll demo a few more in the next 90 seconds here. One, you can utilize the Bosu ball, hopping on and off of. I'm not gonna do that in this demonstration. I wanna focus again on moving in different planes of motion. So two-legged, we can work on jumping side to side. Soft landing. And you might wonder, when the heck am I gonna be jumping side to side on the trail? Well, hopefully you're not. But it's teaching your brain to respond to external stimulus so you can be quicker and lighter on your feet. In case you step on a loose rock and it moves, you can adjust and catch yourself more quickly. So again, two-legged side to side. We can also try one leg, side to side hops. Notice, see, balance. But notice I'm not going quick necessarily. That's a more advanced progression that we can certainly get to. Single leg, moving quicker. That's a more challenging progression, and we'll get there. Another option too, again, getting back to that multi-planar, we can work on jumping and turning in the air. This is one of my favorite ways to train plyometrics, especially for the trail, is that multi-planar jump. So I can respond quickly to my external environment. And that's really what makes strong hikers and backpackers. How well can you adapt to the conditions at hand? Maybe it's walking on a snowy trail and it's unstable and you gotta catch yourself, which is where jumping and turning and really focusing on your biomechanics is absolutely key to stay injury-free. Great job. Last one here, we're gonna focus on a farmer's carry, and our goal is to prepare you for the external loads that you might be carrying. Even if it's a lighter day pack or a big heavy backpack on a longer trip, we need to build muscular endurance to the upper body, enhance our posture, engage our core, and challenge the legs. This is where a pair of heavier dumbbells can be great, or even just wearing a backpack, holding a loaded backpack. I'm gonna keep it relatively light with a pair of 60-pound dumbbells. Now for the true farmer's carry, my shoulders are down and back, my chest is up, and I'm walking slowly with control. This is also where some of that multi-planar movement, turning, is really, really key. How well can you maintain posture with your upper body? Walking forward, walking backwards. We can also ditch a dumbbell and hold just one. And you'll find walking like this, of course the weight wants to pull me this way, I have to use my core to stabilize. Now, of course, you're probably not gonna be hiking with a 60-pound dumbbell in hand, which is great. We don't wanna do that. But again, what we're doing is preparing you for the demands that you might experience on the trail in a really exaggerated way, so hiking feels easy. That's really the goal. We don't want you to be suffering on your once-in-a-lifetime trek. We want you to enjoy it. This is a great variation to really challenge that core, work on our posture, shoulders down and back. Of course, upper body training is key. I didn't include many exercises like that in today's routine, but they are certainly embedded in our training program, and we have several videos for that on our YouTube channel as well. Those are the exercises we're demoing today. Thanks again for joining us today. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your hiking group, and subscribe to the Outdoor Adventure Training YouTube channel. We have tons more follow along workouts and tech tips to help you prepare for your next adventure. Don't forget to check out the Backpackers Bootcamp. Start your 7-day free trial, and we'll see you next time here at OAT.